Um, I remember the first time I ever, like the first time in my entire career, that was actually asked a business question. I was thrown off, and this was about 3 years into being a product manager. I got work with a company, and then we had raised the first seed. We have raised pre-seed, we've raised seed, and then the company is trying to go into a merger with another bigger organization. And while we're trying to do that, the CEO had a meeting with me. Sincerely, I was one of two products manager, and then we have the CPO. The CPO usually handles all these conversations, but then he was on leave at that particular time. And then the CPO had the CPO said, "Oh yeah, put Michael." I mean, Michael is a smart guy. He knows that Michael. It feels like Michael can handle it. And I had never had to be business facing. And I remember that day I was on a call with him for 30 minutes. It was a very, I don't know if it's short or long meeting, but it felt like 3 hours because every single as the CEO was speaking, I was literally on my other device searching for terms because I could not ask him that I don't understand. He was speaking with me, so and it's a big company, so you don't regularly get to speak with the CPU, the CEO. But the CPO was not around, so I had to what's the word? Step in the meeting because he needed some data. So I had, as I was saying it, I had to start writing it down. Say, do you understand? Yes, I do. I write it down. Oh, what? Luckily for me, he didn't ask a lot of questions. He was just giving instructions on what he needed. And at the end of the day, most of his common questions were, "Do you understand? Do you understand?" And oftentimes, when he asked questions, I could use head knowledge to do as if I understand. And the call ended and I soaked myself into learning. I'm a self-taught manager. If I've never mentioned that in all our calls, I was self-taught. I learned what product management is in while I was in the uni, and then over time, right, I just learned on the job, right. So this was one of the defining moments in my career. I remember that. Almost, this is serious. And throughout, I would not lie to you, throughout that week, I felt shitty. I don't know if you guys have ever felt like if you've ever been in a point where you felt like a fraud, right? I felt like like I should not collect salary that month because it was very weird. It was very weird. I would tell you for free, it was very weird. And then I started learning and learning and learning. Luckily for me, I joined this my new company. This mining company, we have a meeting we call All Minds, where our CEO is very open. He's very open with numbers. So he comes into the All Mind, tells us how much you're making, if we are losing on any front. I mean, we have this program as well where we get bonus. Like I know most companies also have that bonus structure, but then we get bonus if all of us win together. What is the GP? What is some of those things? He comes to meetings to have it, to discuss it, if not because of the knowledge I have, I would probably have been lost. And in this my current company, we are very, very interested in business. Like at the end of the day, I one of the mantras we have in my company is if the product does not give a value, then if it doesn't give value to the customer, then kill it, right? And I think it's the mantra that Google also have. In case you've never heard it before, Google has there's a platform called Google Graveyard, I think. Yeah. Yes, queued by Google. If you see this platform, you see these are all products that Google has built in the last since this Google started, basically over 306 products. I mean, actual products. Some of them physical products, some of them softwares. Right? I used VPN by Google. I used. Let me see which one I used. Some of us use Google Stories, YouTube Stories, right? I use Grasshopper. Let me look for one that is popular that a lot of us would have used once before. Aha! Google Hangout is one particular one that we know that is very popular. Please give me a minute, please. All right. I think most of us actually use Google Hangouts. For those of us that use Teams now, right? Before now, the products that Teams was called Google Hangout before. Let me just use that word, right? Google Hangout was the first version of Teams that was built, but eventually it was too built to look like a chat system. And then they realized that customers were using it mostly for formal case. They were using it in companies were the one that are using it. So they had to rebuild the entire system to actually fit the um, company routes, right? So again, Google Hangout was Google's attempt to compete with Facebook. As you can, it was built like it spent over 9 years. That Hangouts, Yahoo boys used it that time, like when Yahoo was still Yahoo, right? So you could call somebody outside the country. You could, it was more like your regular Facebook, but usually just for messaging, right? And maybe calls and videos. You can record a video, voice. I remember that one of the intriguing parts of Google Hangout for me then was you could record voicemail, like video voicemail, right? You can do a video voicemail and then record more like you're recording video. I mean, some features then were very stupid when I think about this. When I think about it now, technology has moved so far, right? But yeah, Google Hangout, some of us used it. YouTube Go is a smaller version of YouTube that you can basically use. We have a lot of products that Google actually built that made a lot of sense, right? But now those products are not there anymore. Some of us will remember Google Sites, right? Google Sites were the likes of they were there to compete with the likes of uh, uh, what's the name of this platform? It basically allows you to create a mini site to put information like a knowledge base, right? A lot of that was actually built by Google, and all of these have been killed. Why were they killed? They were killed because as much as some users are using it, it's not giving value to the business, or it's giving value to the business, but it doesn't look like it has enough value to the user. There is a better way. Remember yesterday we spoke about one of the acronyms that we spoke about was the fact that if you have a product that is not doing so well and you feel like you can replace it with one that does so well in the same niche, yes, feel free to do it, right? It's the example I gave about what's the name now? About Google Hangouts, right? Google Hangouts was a product built to work basically like WhatsApp. But when the user embraced it, they didn't embrace it like WhatsApp. They didn't embrace it like Facebook. They didn't embrace it like one other product, right? However, I'm not sure they've killed Blogspot yet. I'm not sure they've killed it yet, but I think it's still running like it's not running. They are not maintaining it anymore anyway. They are not adding functionality to it, but it's just there. And I will explain that as well, right? So, for example, let me finish my thought process on Google Hangout. Please ask question after class. It distracts me. All right. Google Hangouts. What's the word? Google Hangouts in itself was I will use this as an example so that you understand the value of understanding business concept. Was this product that a lot of people were using? If not, it wouldn't have spent almost 9 years. People used it. I used it, right? I remember at that time I would go to cafe just to use Hangouts, um, Facebook as at then, not the Facebook we know now. Facebook as at then. There was at some point there was not even mobile app for you. You have to use Facebook through browser, right? Some of us had tiny access, right? But again, Google Hangout was that platform that felt more easy to use, right? And you can reach people that are not just in your neighborhood. Facebook was restrictive in that manner, right? So they realized that companies that were working in multiple regions started using Google Hangouts, right? They were using it to communicate to each other. When I send email to you, I can say, okay, let's speak on Hangouts. Let's speak on Hangouts. Before you know it, Skype became a very major competitor. Some of us, we know Skype, right? it became a major competition of Google Hangout, because now Google Hangout was not built to compete in the business space, but people are basically using it in the business space. So what did Google do? Google say, okay, if people are going to be using it in business space, why not just make money from it? I'll also tell you about business models shortly. But yeah, why not just make money from it? Why not just bundle this app and make it a business app? Since, I mean, end users really don't care about chatting each other up. They can use email, right? And boom, they did it. And it's worked beautifully. Because right now, a lot of companies all over the world cannot do without Teams, right? Because they use, I said Teams, without Google Meet, right? Even you and I, we use Google Meet. You need to just have a quick corporate call with a friend. You can just set up a 30-minute call on Google Meet. So it became something that was sensational. So if they had not killed Google Hangouts and created Google Meet, probably they would have still been very confused on positioning. So they needed a clear vision, people to recognize what exactly this was for. Initially, like I said, Google Hangouts was meant to be that messaging app, just like WhatsApp, where you can download and chat with each other. But regular users were not using it. Business users were using it. So what could they do? They migrate the app from a regular user app to a business user app, right? So again, there are many things to consider when making this decision. And this decision is not taken lightly. They are not taken lightly. I give you an example that even my product, I am actually two products. I had an integration before that I'm moving customers from the previous one to a new one. I started the process for about 3 months now after we're done building. Now I'm moving them little by little. Before the call came in, I had a Google sheet where I was marking those that were already moved. Who is next? Who do we move next? And some of those things. Now, but I have one that we're not even moving at all. Not necessarily moving them to a newly built app. We're just moving it to another existing app. They have to find a way to make it work. So I have to do sessions with customers, and considering the fact that I'm working in the business space, I have to do group sessions even with internal team. We have pre-sales, we have something you call solution consultants. We call them professional service in my company. So these guys are the ones that help customers to build flows, to do technical stuffs. And I have to have sessions with them to tell them, okay, why are we moving them? Why not just leave it and say, okay, this is actually consuming a lot of cost, and it's not bringing us. It's bringing a lot of money, by the way. I'm talking a lot of money, a lot of money. But in this grand scheme of things, compared to other products in the company, it's not bringing enough money. I should just use that word. Compared to the resources that it is eating up, it's also not bringing enough money. So instead of, remember what I said the other time, that we can merge two products together. So instead of having this service running and getting cost, a lot of hosting cost and many other things, why not move customer to another? This same customer that are paying for this would probably be willing to pay for this as well if you merge them into this other one, right? So how do you make some of this decision and all that? What are the things you look? What are the numbers? What are those? That's what we'll be talking. I won't be able to go in depth into business models and all of that, but I'll give you enough information to get you started. All you need is just the right information to get started. The rest, you learn it on the job. Hopefully you'll not be you'll not feel like I felt when I first actually heard about this business term for the first time. So I already explained why business metrics matter to you as a product manager, because it determines what you really do. It even helps you prioritize what to do, like what next to do. Yesterday I spoke about Fang and Mangoes. So I'm going to skip all of this and go into revenue model. But the idea, what I wrote here is just to let you know how it works. Google's basic, or the biggest money Google makes, is from advertising. Most of us use Google for free. Almost all Nigerians, except for businesses, all Nigerians use Google for free. You set up Gmail for free. You search Google for free. You use Teams for free. You use everything for free. So how then do Google make their money, right? They make it from adverts, right? Because you are giving them your life for free. You become a number on their dashboard. So all the people that are using for free are huge numbers that they can go to business and say, hey, we have some, I don't want to use the word, the word that is coming to your head. We have some people who are using this product for free. But I mean, they already accepted the terms and conditions that we can run ads and show it to them if they anytime. So if you want to run your ads, we can show you to this number of people. And considering Africa, we have a very huge population. These are millions and billions of people businesses want to sell. So they go to them and say, okay, no problem. You show this to the people you have, then I don't mind, right? I don't mind. I'll pay a token amount of money. So this is why Google keep giving us free stuff. Because the more free stuff they give us, the more of our highs, our hears, and everything that we give to them for free. And they can then sell this to the customer. So this is the model that Google uses. Amazon, on the other hand, Amazon has a slightly different model. Let me look for another one. Meta as well use similar model as Google, right? As you know, you guys use WhatsApp for free. Even WhatsApp business, right? People use it for free. But do you know people who pay for it? People that are customers of my company. My company give WhatsApp as a service to businesses, which allows them to actually create agent consoles or chatbots on WhatsApp, so that when you're chatting the WhatsApp, it automatically replies back to you, blah, blah, blah. For every of the chats that are not marketing related, they are charged. They pay a certain amount of money for those conversations. Before, it used to be free, but now businesses that would pay for those conversations, right? So again, this is how Meta makes their money. You, the customer that is chatting, you don't pay for it. But there are businesses on the background that are willing to pay an amount of money to get that information into your face, right? And it's what we call the content economy, right? You understand better. So this is another way that people make money. Apple, on the other hand, makes most of their money from hardware sales. Most of Apple's softwares are free, as you know. As long as you have the iPhone, you have them. So their money are not made on softwares really. The biggest of their money is made on the devices itself. So almost half of their revenue comes from the phone, and then there are some services they have, for example, Apple Music, Apple Store, some of their wearables as well. They also hardware. So they make most of their money from hardware, and then the rest of the money comes from other things. Then they also make money from, by the way, all of them make money from stocks, right? You buy their stocks. I mean, you buy. The more you buy and invest into them, the more money they make, because the valuation in the tech space is liquid. So the more numbers can pump up, the more they get. So as you buy their shares, they get richer, right? Something like that. Product like Microsoft also make money from some of their products, but not just from products, because almost all of us in this particular call, we are using Windows for free. In fact, some of us will go and meet engineers that, please help me hack it. It's telling me that my Windows have expired. Hack it again so that it will not be what's the word they used to use? Activation. Windows activation. And then you go and activate it. You are stealing from well-meaning companies. Anyway, you will become product managers very soon. You see how annoying that is. There's no difference between you basically and people that are dubbing movie in Alabama market. You are basically doing the same thing. There's no difference between you and people that are stealing something from the supermarket. All of us are thief. By the way, that's it on a lighter mode. So yeah, we really pay for some of these things. We use Microsoft Word for free, except for some of us that are very kind, very kind. We pay for it. Like I'm using Teams right now. I'm using the paid version because I like to be a good person, but my Windows is not paid, right? Okay, that's a joke apart. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So they don't make money from they make money from it, but that's not their main source of income. If not, they would have run out of the market, because you people are doctoring their products for free. However, the beautiful part of it is they have infrastructures. For example, their Windows operating system is built on a lot of infrastructure built on it. So they have a lot of other infrastructures like cloud and many other things like that people use, right? That they pay for. Those ones are business. So they focus on their business users. You people are like, again, numbers that they can sell to. All right, NVIDIA is fully an infrastructure company. NVIDIA is the company that hosts all the AI literally 80% of the AI in the world today, they have a data center. What is data center? Data center is like, think of a room. You know your flash drive now, right? Your flash drive is an example of a very minute data center. So now think of a very big house that have big flash drive, right? Those are data centers. So data centers, they keep a lot of data, and not just keep it running, they also have infrastructures that allow you to retrieve them, send them in at a very fast speed, right? Like speed of light, so that everybody can access data anytime, anywhere. And then people can just come and say, I want to buy a slot in your room, right? And all that. So yeah, so they host 80% of the entire AI in the world. NVIDIA owns it. They host it, so they are making money from everybody. OpenAI is paying them, Anthropic is paying them, Meta, Google, all these guys here are paying them. That's why NVIDIA is said to be one of the most productive, profitable business globally. Of course, people like Meta are also building their data center. I saw a news today that the the federal government of Nigeria is forcing every single fintech, right, to host their data in Nigeria. The news was very, I see mixed feeling about it online. People are saying, no, what do you mean? People should just move their AWS and come to Nigeria. I say, no, it's actually a right step in the right direction. If my data is located in Nigeria, it makes a lot of sense, because now I'm not scared that somebody in the US will have access to my data, right? So let AWS come and set up their factories in their data centers in Nigeria. Let Google, Oracle, let them come and set up their data center in Nigeria and employ young guys, right? They are collecting our money. Let them come and set it up. Then I think data centers infrastructure will also be cheaper, because if they come to Nigeria, I'm sure they will sign MOU with the Nigerian government to ensure that they're not paying in dollars. And if you're not paying in dollars, good for businesses. So fintechs, I expected them to be actually open to this, but I think I've seen a lot of mixed feeling online. Some people are happy about it, some people are sad about it. But the idea is sharp, that this is how some of these guys make money. I just wanted to run through some of them before I actually go in. So what exactly, if I was to calculate all the business models that exist, what exactly are they? Number one, the most popular one, which is the SaaS. I'll just mention 4 of them, and then the rest you can learn. There are a lot of them online, but let's just talk about 4 of them. Um, SaaS is like the most popular one, where you pay a recurring subscription, right? Usually, most SaaS company, you pay subscriptions. They are subscription based. So, which means that they are giving you the software. That's why they call it software as a service. So they are rendering you a service, and then you are paying them at a particular metered period. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be daily. That's just what that model does. So you pay, it could be annually as well. But the most common ones is monthly and annually. It's the most easiest or simplest model that anyone could ever do. But there are some industries that cannot work with the SaaS model. So they use something we call the transaction. I don't know. I merged these two together for a reason, because some of them, they are intertwined. They use this transaction model. Some of an example is your banks, right? They charge you 0.1% or 0.2% or 2% or 3% on every transaction that you make. So instead of charging you monthly, right, they charge you on every transaction you make. And sometimes they cap it up. I say, okay, we'll charge you 2% of every transaction you make, but capped at 20,000. Some of us don't even know that our transaction fee are capped because just in Nigeria, they will remove the money, they just remove it, right? So they cap it at an amount of money, but they still peg it at something. Some of our banks just see flat rates, 15 naira on every transaction, right? Regardless, that is the transaction model. This is a model that allows people to charge you on every action that you take within their platform. And then the marketplace is also a bit similar. But the reason why it's a bit different is because marketplace sometimes can combine transactional and subscription, depending on the user we are talking about. For example, Jumia and let me think. Jumia, based on what I heard, again, this is not verified, but based on what I've heard about Jumia charges their customer a certain amount. Their premium businesses that want to sell on Jumia, they charge them a premium, like they pay a certain amount of money. But aside from that certain amount of money that they are paying monthly to actually use the platform and get all the benefits in quotes, right? They also charge them certain percent on every sales that they make. So that's why I said I added it as slash marketplace, because marketplace also use transactional, but sometimes they also use the SaaS model where there's a subscription based behind it. Also, there's freemium. Now, every business that runs on freemium, note now as a product manager, every business that runs on freemium must always have a different source of income. If not, the business will crash. I remember there was a time, I don't know who started the rumors, maybe that it is from our data. That's how Facebook is able to make money. Like, when you buy data and then use it to access Instagram and Facebook, then from the data, MTN will now give some of that money to Facebook. I don't know who started that gist, but I've had classes where when I asked, I don't even know why I didn't ask this question in this class, but when I asked my students, they say, oh, that's how the software companies make money. That's why they make it free, because they are making money from our data. I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not how. So as a product manager, in fact, the data money that you're collecting is not getting to Meta at all. Neither is it getting to Instagram or WhatsApp. Nothing concern them with that. It's a different stream of income. MTN is the one that owns their money, and they pay the government of whichever country they are. They pay them out of it as well, right? So how do these companies that do freemium make money? I've said they make money based on your number. The more of you that use it for free, the better they could sell to those that actually want to sell to you. It's a marketing structure, right? And that's why people like YouTube will continue, or Google, because they own YouTube, will continue to pay creators, because the more they pay creators create content that keep you coming to the platform. And when you come to the platform, they can actually show you ads that help make those businesses happy, right? So when you are thinking of a freemium model, always think of a side to it, right? Another way you can handle freemium model is you can give people freemium model for a while and then put a value on top of it. So how do they do it? I don't know if some of you have seen free trial. They give you free trial to just taste the app. Zoho does this very well. Zoho is one of the products that does this very well. They're very good. They give you like 7 days free trial, and after that 7 days, you would have enjoyed the product. As a matter of fact, they will call you the second day if you register. And then when they call you, they will tell you, do you need any help? If you say you need help, they will get, if it's possible, they will get 3 people or 4 people to join you on a call to show you how to do it, how to help you set up. You said go dey comfortable, everywhere go stew. 7 days, bam, they will lock you out. And then they will now tell you, yeah, it's free trial you registered for. And I say, okay. So how much is to pay, right? They use that thing for me, sha. But it is well. So again, you pay. They do freemium to encourage you to pay for the value that you are getting, and then when you pay for it, right, they've converted you literally. So that's also another way to do this particular process. Another way is also to do what YouTube does, right? YouTube decided that, okay, yeah, we are getting these people to use the platform, but we can still make money from the end user. So they say, how do we help the end user? Say, okay, give it for free, but annoy them. So when you are watching, for example, if you are a believer like me, or you're a Christian, you're watching, or you're a Muslim, you're watching a sermon, right? And then you're already getting engrossed in the sermon. You're already, yes, that's it. And the man is about to probably, for example, they're also give you prophecy. At that prophecy, they will just say, bro. Or you're watching a movie or playing a music, right? Spotify also does this. We call it annoyance quotient. I think it's called annoyance quotient. So you are listening to a song, maybe by or you're listening to a podcast, and that podcast is relaxing you, right? Says to be the best of what you want to do. You know, all those podcasts that makes you dream big. I know you're already into it, and then all of a sudden you just hear what's the name of this DJ YK Mule bang 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 bang. Your entire suddenly, some people like me would have been forced to pay for the subscription. I can't use YouTube Premium anymore. I don't even know why people don't pay for it. It's basically around 1,000 something there, right, per month. So again, I don't want that art, and I see that okay, there's a way to not get the art. Good, so I'll just pay for it because I want to now concentrate on whatever it is that I'm watching or whatever it is that I'm playing, right? So this is the general idea of how these things ideally work, right? I hope that makes sense. All right, so like I said, I've given you 3 ways that you can use freemium now. The first way is give them for free, flat free, and then power the other side that would use that data to feed those that will pay for it. The second way is annoy them to the point that they will say, okay, oh yeah, collect my money. The way that Spotify did for me, right? You're just enjoying song. If you're like me, that you enjoy music very well, you're enjoying some music, and you're like, you're here to say, me for some family do down. As you say down, it just goes to yeah, disappear. Right. So that balance made me to buy it. And then the third ways that you can do freemium is actually to do it as a free trial. Do give them a free trial, let them enjoy the best of it. And after enjoying, companies like LinkedIn, they do this. Like, let them enjoy the best of it. And then when they enjoy the best of it, they would probably get stocked on it. Of course, each of these has its disadvantage and advantage, and each of these are techniques that they use. For example, you never give a free trial without collecting card. This is very important. Don't ever give free trial without collecting card. And why is this very important? That you still make money regardless. Like, based on experience, out of every 100 people that try to subscribe to your platform for free trial, say 20 or 30 of them will forget that they even subscribe in the first place. So they won't cancel, right? Till you debit them the first time. Now, after debiting them the first time, they will now cancel, right? But at least you've made your money at the end of the day. So it powers your ads or any other things that you want to do like that. So this helps you. Again, product managers feel like this has no bearing at what they do, but it does, because this will determine how your system will be built, really. If you are building if you are doing freemium, right, and then you want to annoy people, it means that you have to build a layer on your system that actually send ads to people to annoy them. Or, do you understand? If you are doing transaction based, it means that you have to actually build a layer in your system that actually charge based on every transaction. So as a product manager, understanding revenue model is not something that I can choose not to. You have to learn it, right? Because it's very important to do. And ensure that you are not trying, this decision is not necessarily made by others for you. Like, do your research. What is applicable in the space? For example, in the streaming space, streaming and social space, usually there's a free before you get the money. But how you do it matters as well, right? If YouTube tomorrow decide that, no, I want to start doing like LinkedIn, and if you want to do this, you have to pay premium, and then give you freemium, they will lose a lot of money. So they have to just use the annoyance, right? Which makes a lot of sense. All right, then finally, platform and APIs. These ones are, I call them API as a service. So you have your product, it works fine. For example, WhatsApp as WhatsApp, all of us use WhatsApp, but there's also WhatsApp API, which allows people to trigger message to other people. For example, all of us use email, but there's also email API that allows technical people to actually trigger emails to others, right? Now, you can sell the service itself, the platform itself, the WhatsApp itself as a different entity, and then sell the API itself also as a different entity. And this is what banks like Wema Bank is doing, right? They are making money from their normal banking this thing. Then they created another banking as a service software, which is Alert, which now has API that can be extended to other people, right? And this is beautiful, right? Because then they can separate their main offering from the alternative offering and still make money from everything. They are basically doing the same thing, banking, right? But extending the functionality so they can make money everywhere. So these are ideally some of the top business models, but we have a lot more about them. But in tech, these are the top ones that we have. All right, so let's talk about financial metrics. There's when you see ARR, right? ARR means annual recurring revenue. So it means that what is that money? That is that amount. Usually it's an average. What's that amount that you make consistently throughout the year? Right? And how do we calculate this? We had all that you made in the year divided by the average. That's how we calculate it. All right. Also we have costs acquisition cost, CAC. Anytime you say CAC, is not our CAC here in Nigeria. CAC means the customer acquisition cost. That means what does it cost us to actually acquire this customer, and what is that? Total sales times marketing spend divided by the number of customer acquired. So what is marketing spend? Marketing spend is basically the number of everything you spend just to ensure that that customer is brought into the company, right? It could be ads. It could be that you employed somebody that will be doing like GNLD and wearing big shoes and visiting people and saying, "Hey, Mister, if you buy this product, you're going to become a billionaire," right? You know, it could be that you employ those people or you give those people a token to do that. You also put it in your marketing spend. So all that you spend basically to get your customers for that month, right? Multiply by the total number of sales that you got. That means how much each of those customers, the sum of what each of those customers paid, then divided by the number of the customer, right? That is what will give you the cost of each customer. And then the cost of each customer would actually help you to know how much to price your product. So when we choose price of product, we don't just wake up and say, I think we'll charge, let's charge them $100, and then the CEO say, "Oh, I think I like that." No, that's not how we calculate it, so that the company does not lose money, right? So one of the metrics that we use is also CAC. Also, we have lifetime value. Lifetime value is also calculated based on the ratio of all the customers you have divided by the churn, blah blah blah. Like, so what is the how do I explain it? So let's assume you have 100 users. How much is that 100 users giving you divided by how many of them actually churns? Maybe over the year. And what is churn? I'll also explain churn. Churn is like you have five customers, and last month, but this month you have 3 customers. What we will say is that 2 of those customers have churn. Anytime you hear churn, because that thing almost drive me crazy when I started my career. Everybody was always saying, there's a churn. I think churn is like one of the most popular words, especially when product managers are talking to each other. We just want to sound very. The word churn means is basically that you have lose some customers or some money or some. Churn means that something have churn out, right? So don't be scared, right? When you hear the word churn. So when you say what is the monthly churn rate, it basically means the customer lost this month divided by the customers at the start of the month. Or you can say the customers at the start of the month, the rate, this is the rate. So divided by, then multiply by 100 to get the rates. To understand the churn itself, you have maybe they ask you, the customer, the CEO asks you, what's the churn? How many customers churned out this month, right? Don't go and think is how many customers do we have. It means how many of the existing customers we have last month actually ran away from us this month, right? That's what churn means. And then NRR, which is net revenue retention, right? This is a bit tricky, but what it's saying is that revenue that we have, how many of it were we able to retain right, in these new months. This is very important, right? Why is this very important? Because a lot of time, I wish I can show you. Okay, let me just show you a graph, right? Product analytics graph. Sorry, I can't show you actual product data. Not this, not this. Okay. So let me, it's not big enough. Okay, I think this is big enough. Open a new tab. Okay. So you see this total user, right? You are looking at my screen, please. You see that this guy is just flat, right? It's not looking like there's growth, right? But when you come to see the subscription, you will see that the map on the subscription is not flat. It's showing that at some point there's a spike and then it dropped back. So which means the fact that you have a stable number of users does not mean at the end of the day that you are actually retaining revenue on all of the users. And this is very important for us as product managers. That when we are looking at our board like this and we are saying, oh, okay, sorry, this is subscription cancellation. But let's assume this is like the subscription, those users that actually subscribe. So when you are looking at this, you can surely know that even though you are looking at a total number, almost there's fire on the mountain, this total number is slowly dropping. But here, it's not showing like it's dropping. It's just basically showing like, oh, we are still good. This looks like we're still good. Do you understand? Even when there was a jack up, right, in subscription, in this case, subscription cancellation, the number of your users was still steady. So, which is why, again, as product managers, we are not always very excited by acquisition. Acquisition means that you actually acquired a customer, right? You got a customer to come and use your product. We're not excited about it. We are more excited about retention and even more excited about conversion. That means, what is the two things? I'll still explain it probably in the other class, but just in case. Acquisition is you brought the customer in. Retention is the customer stayed. And what does it mean stayed? For some product, it could be that they remain a paying customer for 3 months. I'll give you an example. For Netflix, their retention rate is 12 months. Do you know how crazy that is? That you are not recognized as a customer yet until you have paid for Netflix subscription for 12 months. So if you pay twice, 3 times, 4 times, you are still playing, right? So we have not considered you as a retained customer. We cannot boldly say that you are our customer yet, right? We just acquired you. What's audience? What's this? Sorry. Okay. So we have not acquired you, as I said, at all, right? So conversion now means that, okay, when we acquired you on the transfer feature, right? But somehow, we actually moved you out of the transfer feature. Now you are paying bills, right? For example, let's assume when you started using OP, I only use it for collecting money and transferring, like most boat drivers do. But then after a while, I now started seeing, I can buy data here. I started buying data, I started buying airtime, which means that aside from retaining that customer, you've actually converted them to use other products as well. And this is the most exciting part for us as product managers. So again, I'm taking time to explain all of this so that you would understand why this is very, very important. What's going on? Okay. Why this is very important to us, right? So I did a bit of explanation here on unit economy, but there's a lot, and I think you'll learn it on the job, but there's a lot. For example, does this reduce every feature that request that comes through your system, right, has to go through this? Does this feature, will this feature reduce the CAC? You already know what CAC is, Abi. So will it reduce the cost of, acquiring a customer? If I put this feature, will the customer with customers themselves find us, right? Is it valuable enough for customers to not wait for us to run an ad or convince them to come and use the product? Another question is, does it increase what's this app again? Average names can be, yes, average revenue per user. Does it increase the average revenue per user, right? Does it increase it? Will this feature help us make more money? Basically, that's the talk. And then, does this reduce churn? If we do this feature, will it at least stop our customers from running away? So again, the first question you ask is, will it help us to bring new customers, without having to convince them, but because they see the value of it? Customers already have a pain. Is it painful enough for the customer? Then the second part is, will it increase our revenue at the end of the day? Then the third part is, will it reduce the rate at which our customers are running away? And then the fourth part, will it increase the rate at which our customers are staying with us longer? Right? That's the lifetime yada yada. All right. So, but for AI products, and this all I've explained so far is for the regular products. Now, with AI products is slightly different. Like, remember yesterday we spoke about tokens, by now all of you are AI experts, right? We spoke about token, we spoke about usage, I told you that most AI that we use today are token based. So based on the number of tokens you have, they will tell you have exceeded your token for today. You have to either pay or wait till tomorrow, or wait till, I don't know if some of us have experienced this while using AI. If you have not, you are lucky, you're in the right class. Because we will do some things that AI will tell us is enough. It's enough. Come back tomorrow, right? So token based, which means I want to be. What did I call token? Anyone? Let me see who would bust my bubble today. What did I call token yesterday? What did I say token is? You can type it if you don't want to talk. Token. Hey God. Somebody typing, or everybody just. Can you guys hear me? Somebody's typing. Can you guys hear me though?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We can.
I'm worried.
It's okay.
I'm worried. So do we know what token is? When it comes to AI, we say token. What do we mean? Joseph is typing. Hi.
I think the token is just like the number of words that is probably that when you prompt an AI, for instance, so it converts it to the number of words converted to token.
Yeah, that's basically it, actually. So tokens are like words. The way we have words in a sentence, AIs understand tokens. So sometimes, I told you yesterday, I gave an example that one ideally one English word is around 0.75 token. I mentioned it yesterday. So when you have product manager, you have around 1.5 token or 2 tokens, right? Or when you have I am jumping, that could be maybe around 3 tokens or 2 point something tokens, thereabouts. So basically, the number of words that you use, the token is conversion of words into mathematical number. I don't know if I should take that definition, but I think you get the idea. So ideally, some AI models are based on that token. So it counts the number of words that it has responded to you with, that you have also, that basically words that have been in that conversation over time. And then based on that, it prices for you, right? And that's the most common one, right? And then there's usage tier. Usage tier is based on the number of credits. So they allocate some credit to you. Credit again, eventually converted into token, blah blah blah. But it makes more sense when you say credit. So you can buy a number of credits, and then each credit could be, one credit can be worth a lot of tokens, right? Which is like you bundling tokenization instead of what you do normally. And then there is a different one which says that the more it's this data flywheel advantage is like when you say, how do I explain it? Think of it this way, right? You remember when you want to subscribe to a particular company and they say contact support, like they show you the first level 5,000, the second level 20,000, then the third level they now say contact support, right? That contact support page, usually when you visit support, they ask you certain questions like how many users do you have, how many, and then based on all those information you give, they give you a price that you will never find on their CV, a price that even if they ask them, if somebody comes and say, okay, but they said you gave them this price, they will deny. Why? Because based on the conversation they had with you, they can know that giving you a better price is worth more to them than for you to go to a competitor, right? Because of the size of your deal, right? And that's the biggest one in the AI space currently, right? So companies reach out to other companies. For example, a company can reach out to Grok and say, hey, we want to use your AI to build our models, or your models to actually build our systems. And in that rate, what are the systems you'll be building? These are the systems we'll be building, and these systems will help you grow. We'll also be exposing knowledge to growth. It will be internal, but we'll be exposing knowledge so that at the end of the day, we can give you a smarter version of the growth, right? So this is also one of the models that I found online about AI products. The ones that I use currently in we use the token based. The number of tokens you use is what you pay for, right? In my current company, and it makes sense with us because even for SMS, we also do per message, right? So it makes sense. It's like relating to. All right. So how AI companies make money? I've told you about it. Training, of course, the cost of it itself is high, but they make money basically from token. I'm sorry, I think how AI companies make. Oh, okay. Basically, this is talking about what they lose or what they make, right? So you could read up on this. You could read up on this. Now, what does it mean for your product? Now, what it means for your product, if you are building an AI product, one very, very important thing to do is that you have like tiers of your AI usage. So don't say, oh, which is one of the biggest mistakes that Lovable made initially, because I was one of the culprits of that time. They made it open because they felt like users cannot overdo, right? But there were those of us that didn't sleep. We're enjoying Lovable so much that we're just telling it to build stuff, and crash their system. I think they were off for like 2 days before they finally came back. So tier it, right? Put a tier on it. Do something like, oh, if you are on freemium version, you can only get to use this amount of token. If you are on paid version, even Claude, which is like the father of them all, is also having a tiered pricing. So have a tiered pricing that can actually help you add a mini margin, so that even though you are paying your AI provider, you are still making some money on it without the customer necessarily feeling cheated at the end of the day. Cash whenever possible. All right. So what do you mean by cash? I hope I'm pronouncing it well. I used to pronounce it with my Yoruba intonation. Cash, catchy. Anyway, you understand what I highlighted. Cash wherever necessary. And what does cash mean? Caching means. Caching means that when you get a particular data, instead of deleting that data from the conversation, you keep it in the conversation, so that if the customer needs it again, instead of going to get it from the AI, you can just get it from that. Caching is basically, think of it like a temporary storage, right? You save it temporary, just like our browser. That's what our browser also does. When you load a website for the first time, the browser keeps a version of that website, so that the next time you try to reload that website, it loads faster, right? That's basically what it is. So when you are building your system, build it with that in mind, so that you don't have to incur a lot of cost. Whatever it is that maybe you feel like in this conversation, customers might need it again. Just put it so that the AI that your visit to the LLMs, I say LLM, to the model will not be very frequent, or to the back end will not be very frequent. You can always use data and inference within the LLM, right? Then use cheap model for simple tasks, and maybe costly models for. I did something similar to this a while ago. So as product managers, we have a product. I will still teach you guys about Jira. So we use Jira in my company, and most of our product managers, they got tired. Me, I still like getting my hands dirty. I like going to Jira, create the tickets, write everything. But everybody's saying no. I just want to write a prompt. This is what I want to write. Jira will write the PRD, the AI. I need to train an AI to write the PRD for. I'm just telling my idea. It will do the market research, write the PRD for me, break it down into user stories, and add the user stories as tickets on my board. Create as many tickets, back end, front end tickets, create everything. I just go there and just maybe move it to the right sprints and all of that. I'll still teach you guys about sprints and all that very soon. Now, when that system was built, it was very lovely, right? It does the work. What's the manual efforts? I had to do research a long time, right? But this model does research so fast, right? For example, let's think of an acquisition. My company wants to acquire another company. I have to log into the platform, use the platform. But there's already people that use the platform, give review about the platform and all of that. AI has access to this information. So it can do that faster for me, right? Does a lot of review, check their Play Store, blah, blah, blah. And, I used it for the first time, second time, but I got bored. Like, if I start using this, I feel like I'm not going to be doing any major work, right? So I started using it as use it first time, and then I'll also just validate. But then it started happening that the cost was running crazy. So the company had to say, hey, let's remove some people. Personally, I left that particular, I told them to remove my subscription. So you have a couple of people that were like, oh, this is too much. Like we're product managers were getting a lot of they were using a lot of token, which means a lot of money for the company, right? So what did I do? What I did is there are a lot of free models online. I spoke to you about some of them. I told you about Llama by Meta. It's basically free. So I use those models as the LLM. So I'm not paying for LLM, right? Remember what I told you about LLM? They are basically language models. So LLMs itself, I'm not paying for it. However, the parts where it needs to learn, for example, it needs tools like MCP. I told you yesterday about MCP as well. It needs to have access to Jira to be able to create tickets on Jira on my behalf, to be able to, understand things like that. It also needs to have access to Google and many other resources like that to make research, right? There are a lot of academic reports as well that it has to have access to. So what did I do? I looked for a model which usually Cloud has Cloud access to it. So instead of using Cloud as a service, I just used on the API. So the LLMs that I'm using for free tries its best, right, to do the normal searching on the internet and everything. And then whatever information he gets, he use that information and send it to Claude to make it better. So that way, request is not going to Claude every time. I'm only paying once. And when I tried it for like a month, and I reached out to my boss, hey, boss, I just wanted to share this with you. This saved cost a lot, right? And then I rebuilt the UI to allow us to be actually able to edit stuff within it, right? So that it's not after it's now push, you now say, oh, what you did is wrong, try this again, or delete the one you did before, and then create a new one. Like once you create it, before it actually creates the ticket, you can review it in a UI, make some changes, and then push it, right? This made what really easy. Again, no developer was involved. This was just product managers in the company trying to see how we call it AI assistant, PM assistant. The company called it PM assistant. So we improved the product ourselves. No developer involved, just product managers using AI to build something awesome. My company is a pro AI. They will pay you. They will give you any amount to learn AI because that's where the world is going into. All right. So what do I mean? Like, don't always go for the most sophisticated what are they calling it, models, right? It doesn't mean, right? LLMs is LLMs. Yes, some are smarter than the other. Claude is the smartest, right? But you can still find something that is not bad, right? You can find something that is not very bad, as it's not as bad as that. And then you separate your remember I told you guys that you have guardrails, right? We talked about guardrail yesterday. So you separate request to tools. Tools can be your Jira, it could be your WhatsApp, it could be anything. Request to tools from actual conversation between the LLM and the user, right? That makes your cost really, really effective. We'll probably do some things around it. I'm sure you guys have some ideas you want to bring to life. So when we get to practical sessions, it's easy, and then you can apply some of these things that we've spoken about. Model the worst case, right? Personally, right? I don't like paying for AI. I don't like paying for it because it finishes on time and it's annoying. I had Claude subscription before. I removed it. It's useless. I paid so much money, and I mean, after the money I paid, at the end of the day, it will still tell me that my token has, like, I have to come back next day. It's stupid, right? So I removed it. Why? Because I have models that do the same thing. I use open code, free of charge. Anti-graffiti, free also. Codex also has a very strong free premium. So why am I paying so much? So in my head, I mean, beyond the model, the worst case. Of course, if you work for a company, they might want smarter ones and you might need to pay. But always think of a scenario that you pay less. As if it's possible for you not to pay at all, go for that one. And why is this very important? Because at the end of the day, you will pay, especially for business case. You will pay if you are building for business or for your company. You eventually pay. So before you get to that point of paying, try to use a model that try your best to assure that whatever you are paying is almost insignificant, so that when the customers start coming in, the load of cost that you incur is not much. And why is this very important? With all the other subscription model, with all the other subscription model that I mentioned earlier, you would understand with me that the backup power came up when power disappeared. So give me a minute. Not this. Okay. All right. Can you guys still hear me? Thumbs up. You can still hear me. Can you still hear me? Okay. I believe you can.
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know about another.
All right. Thank you. So this is very important that you don't just take as much what do they call it? I've forgotten my chain of thought, and it's very, very important. Yes. Why do we do this? Right? The reason why we do this is because number one, right? Unlike the transaction and all those ones that we spoke about at the top, you can predict what your customers will do, right? You can predict how many transactions they will make. I mean, you don't even need to worry about how many transactions you make because you make money on every transaction. For the freemium, even for the freemium, like, you don't have to worry about, in fact, the more the people that see the ads, the better, because based on every ad click, you make money. But you see, with AI, it's a bit different. You can't predict how someone like Innocence, how many words he will type. You can't predict how many times, if Innocent, again, your AI is as smart as you are. If Innocent is asking AI something and I'm asking AI something, probably the AI will answer more smarter with Innocent because he's a very smart guy, right? And it's when he's answering me, we're like, this guy is slow. What's happening with the power now? Okay, let me just continue. All right. So, as I said, Innocent will probably feel like have the conversation so like so well, like with the AI. But because me, I don't give enough context. I spoke about context yesterday. The AI will be hallucinating, and Michelle will be telling him, are you not having sense? Are you stupid? Can't you just understand something at once? All those things I'm doing. My token is finishing. So it is very hard for you to imagine the kind of customers or the users you would have. So, which is why it is very important to always think about the worst case and use cheap models for simple tasks. When you need complex tasks, you can start looking for complex models, right? I think we've done a bit of all of this. Yeah, I would touch briefly on cohort tomorrow, and then I will tell you what you probably need to focus on if you are joining a company that is pre-seed or seed, if you are joining a company that is on Series A, or you are joining a company that is on Series B and C. I'll tell you what matters in each of them and what you should focus more on as a product manager. And then would end this particular class before we go into the Agile Scrum. And I know that's going to be very long, but yeah, before we go into that, is there any question so far? Do we have any questions so far? Sorry.